Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are back again with another war video. It's been a while since I uploaded any of these, but finally seems that my recording problems have been going away with the latest update. But either way, so we're back in Alliance War in off-season and we're fighting against KAANK Alliance, and obviously this is an off-season war, so not kind of like taking it particularly serious. There's going to be no boosting, no healing either involved, I believe. And the first fight I have on path 4 is Void. Since I'm running Suicides, obviously it's a good idea to bring in an immune champion, just so we don't immediately die from that debuff damage Void would give us. And also Warlock overall is a fairly fantastic option to use in Alliance Wars. If opponents are running willpower, you're always going to have that power control kind of mitigation from the willpower heal you get, and it kind of just works out. So anyways, the first fight on path 4, not too tricky, didn't play it perfect. This is going to be also a fairly sloppy war, but the main reason why I kind of decided to upload it after all was the boss fight, because the boss fight is going to be a really cool one. So we are going to have some boss action. Overall, I'm going to be fairly lazy in this war. I'm not going to take too many fights. I didn't do like any mini bosses. I just finished off one Darkhawk and I didn't even record it because he was like 20%. And now we have Hyperion on this aspect of War Spike node, which is a fairly tricky matchup. I have seen Hyperions there in the past because it's not the easiest fight to deal with if you're trying to play it kind of like conventionally and normally as you should and not get hit by those level 3s and stuff like that. But I typically just like to bring in Nick Fury for this node, especially if opponent isn't bleed immune, because then you can just kind of go and enjoy yourself, basically. For most part, that's what you do. You kind of just ignore opponent's power meter, ignore opponent's power level, and just try and dish out as much damage as you possibly can, as quickly as you can, and then rely on that double health pool to go through the fight. Because when you do like get rid of life model decoy, the real Nick Fury brings out some real crazy damage. And anyway, so that was it for section 1. And section 2, I'm on path 2. First node is that encroaching stun, and there's also a Thing on it. So Thing is a fairly common opponent over there, and I typically use Quake. And I also normally like to add that invulnerability boost for 3 hits, because if your stun durations don't really quite line up, you can still get stunned. But overall, Quake bypasses the encroaching stun fairly well, I would say. If you time the things right, if you kind of like rely on your parries more than trying to full evade all hits, then she has a quite a good chance and you can reliably get through these nodes. And even if you end up getting hit a couple of times, typically you're just fine for finishing out the fight without the death. And so either way, now you can see that this thing has gone down in health-wise quite a bit. Now he has Suicides on, but since he's not throwing any special attacks, since I'm using Quake, the recoil isn't really helping me either. Still, we are managing to do some decent amount of damage here. I did get stunned. Unfortunately, I'm starting to eat some hits, but the Quake's aftershocks kick in and it stuns Thing in return, and he just drops down. So it wasn't the cleanest fight. It's definitely nothing tricky either, though. Next fight is going to be Domino, and I'm going to use my Warlock here because why not? This was still like super early in the morning as well, so I have like a proper sleepy head on me, and this isn't going to be the best fought out fight, I would say, because yeah, it's going to be fairly sloppy. I'm going to miss so many parries and she's going to end up hitting my block for days, which in this matchup isn't actually the worst thing because she constantly keeps losing her power as well. I'm going to take a lot of block damage, but because Domino has Suicides on, and yeah, because my infections do heal block her, she's just going to constantly be chipping away herself without me doing much to her, kind of like, if that makes sense. And that's kind of like a cool interaction Warlock has, because he can just take an extra advantage of opponents who run Suicides, especially because you can heal block them, then you can trigger the degen now that Warlock is awakened as well, plus you have all that extra amount of damage and power gain and just fight control, and it's an extremely easy time against anybody who uses Suicides when you're playing Warlock. And as we can see here, she's just slowly but surely ticking herself away. She's like at 2%, 1%, and she just dropped down without me needing to hit her much at all. I think I dropped like 1 level 2 in this fight, and that was about it. And yeah, that would have been pretty much it for the war, because I will be honest, I kind of forgot that I'm in Alliance War because it's off season, and I didn't log in for a while in the game while I was doing some stuff around the house. But then I noticed that the boss is open, or the boss was about to be open, and I was like, I'm gonna try out my Nick Fury against this Guillotine 2099, because why not? Right, so here I ate that heavy attack on purpose with the idea of giving me more power, so I managed to drop my level 1. So as soon as I drop my first level 1, it's an extremely important point in the fight, because that makes sure I cannot miss and I can ignore that miss mechanic Guillotine 2099 has, which is like the primary reason what makes her annoying. Now, once I get the second level 2 off, I'm in a really good spot in the fight, because I'm also unblockable, which means I can find my openings so much easier. I don't have to like rely on intercepts or anything like that. I can just kind of like go at her without needing to intercept or block bait heavy attacks or anything like that. Plus, obviously, Nick Fury is hitting relatively hard with suicides, with the real Nick Fury mode activated. On the downside, obviously, I can't really spam my special attacks, which would be beneficial in this point to kind of shrug off that reverse healing thing Guillotine puts on you with her level 2, but it's not doing all that much damage. If I was to take this fight serious, I'd probably simply just taken off the willpower, but either way, at this point we are kind of like well in the control of the fight. However, the timer is the problem, because Guillotine is obviously a robot and she's bleed immune, and I'm not running any boosts or anything of the sort to enhance my own damage. And since Nick Fury's primary damage is the bleed damage, I am going to be kind of like struggling with the clock in this fight. So I definitely do have to hurry up, and like I keep constantly looking at the fight timer, because it is extremely tight, it is extremely close. And I do have to try and get in as much damage as quickly as I possibly can, because there's only 1 minute left on the fight, and she's at like 36%. Plus, I know she's gonna get that regeneration towards the end of the fight, so I will have to outdamage that bit as well. At this point, I drop level 3, mainly also to get rid of that debuff, because whenever Nick Fury knocks down opponent, he has a chance to purify all debuffs, depending on his tactical charges, which is something we take advantage of. Unfortunately, that did trigger that bulwark node, which I kind of forgot about, but either way, we are still making a decent headway, I would say. We have half a minute left in the fight. She's at 23%. I definitely need to hurry up, but I do have that assassins at 1, so that does give me 20% attack increase, and we're nearly done here. And here's gonna be the biggest spoiler: I will make it in time. I will make it with a couple of seconds left on the clock, and that will be pretty much it for today's video. So like a super quick Alliance War video, but we did get a nice boss solo unboosted with the Nick Fury. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya!